November 16, 1982. A Chevy Blazer sits abandoned on a desolate stretch of Interstate 80 in Wyoming. Its engine hums in the freezing wind, the driver's door swings wide open, and clothes are scattered across the road like a trail of breadcrumbs. But the man who drove it, Don Kemp, is nowhere to be found. For 3 years, his disappearance baffled investigators, locals, and even his own family. Then, bones turned up in the wilderness. Case closed, right? Wrong. Mysterious phone calls, sightings of a man who couldn't possibly be alive, and whispers of a dark conspiracy turned this into one of America's strangest unsolved mysteries. A case that even unsolved mysteries couldn't fully explain. Have you ever heard a story so strange, so unsettling, that it refuses to leave your mind? This is one of those cases. Buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the chilling tale of Don Kemp, a story that refuses to die. Don Kemp wasn't always a ghost in the Wyoming snow. Born in 1947, he was a sharp, ambitious New Yorker, a 35-year-old ad man with a knack for storytelling. He lived fast, worked hard, and dreamed big. But in 1981, everything changed. A horrific car accident left him physically broken and mentally scarred. Doctors said he'd recover, but Don wasn't the same. He quit his job, sold his apartment, and traded the city skyline for solitude. His new mission? To write a book about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, something he'd become obsessed with after the crash. In November 1982, he packed up his Blazer and hit the road for Wyoming, chasing a fresh start. But he never made it to his destination. On November 15th, Don was last seen alive at the Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum. Witnesses say he wandered the exhibits for 2 hours, lost in thought, barely speaking. Then, something bizarre happened. He left behind a leather satchel, one filled with every important document he owned: his ID, his notes, his life. It was as if he'd already decided to vanish. The next morning, a highway patrol officer spotted his Blazer 40 miles east of Cheyenne, abandoned in a snow-dusted ditch. The scene was bizarre. Socks and gloves strewn across the road, the engine still warm, and a single set of footprints leading away from the vehicle into the endless plains. Those footprints told a cryptic story. They stretched 6 miles through the snow to an old crumbling barn. Inside, investigators found 3 of Don's socks and the remnants of a fire that never fully caught. But Don, gone. No tracks leading out, no signs of a struggle, just a void. The official theory was grim. Don, disoriented and underdressed, succumbed to a blizzard that swept through that night. Temperatures plunged below zero, and survival seemed impossible. For months, search teams combed the area with dogs and helicopters, but the Wyoming wilderness swallowed him whole, or so it seemed. Then, 5 months later, something impossible happened. Judy Aiello, Don's close friend back in New York, returned from a trip to find 6 messages on her answering machine. The voice was frantic, desperate, reading off a phone number and begging her to call back. Judy swore it was Don. But how? The calls came in February 1983, long after Don was presumed dead. Judy traced the number to a house in Casper, Wyoming, 150 miles from where the Blazer was found. The homeowner, Mark Dennis, claimed he knew nothing about Don. Yet rumors swirled. People in Casper swore they'd seen Don alive, at a bar, at a Lincoln exhibit, months after he disappeared. Fast forward to 1985. Hunters stumbled across human remains in the Wyoming backcountry, just a few miles from that barn. Dental records confirmed it: Don Kemp. The coroner ruled it a suicide by exposure. No foul play, no mystery. But Don's mother, Mary Kemp, wasn't buying it. "My son was murdered," she declared. "Someone staged those bones to cover it up." Her theory? Don's Lincoln obsession uncovered something dangerous, something worth killing for. And those sightings in Casper? Mary believed Don survived that winter, only to meet a darker fate later. So what really happened to Don Kemp? If this was just a case of exposure, How do we explain the phone calls? The sightings? The bones found years later? Was he a broken man who wandered off to die in the snow? Or did he stumble into a conspiracy tied to America's past? A secret someone would kill to keep buried? The phone calls defy logic. The sightings twist the knife. And the bones. They only deepen the mystery. Some say Don's spirit still haunts I-80, a restless soul searching for answers. Others think he faked his death and started over, only to be hunted down. This is the enigma of Don Kemp, a case where every answer breeds more questions. What's your gut feeling? Coincidence, conspiracy, or something else? Let's discuss in the comments. Forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a story. Some truths refuse to stay buried. See you in the next one.